All right, so this is me, Matthew, of Matthew Sandslash's fame, and today I'm making a chart for tier lists of VGC types if you're doing a no roster, yes Dynamax VGC league. Restricted's banned, but other than that, no other bans, no hidden power or anything, just VGC legal. Monotype, playing against other VGC monotypes where you can adapt the Pokemon you're going to use and their movesets freely each week. So you can tech things like Lightning Rod if you're going against the Electric team, etc. So I'm going to start with Bug. Bug is bad, but it's not that bad. We're going to put C because you do get Rage Powder, you get Fake Out. You've got Pokemon like Scissor that really only have the one weakness. Fire's hard. You also got Volcarona, who's not really scared about that. You get Pheromosa. You get some really nice special attackers. Butterfree, of course, as that super fast sleep powder, so you could even do Scarf Butterfree. You get, I'm pretty sure you get Trick Room. Who, there's no way Orbeetle doesn't get Trick Room, right? It's got to get Trick Room. So presumably you have Trick Room as well. A lot of good options. Max Bug really deters special attackers, so it's not the worst. So Bug's pretty bad because it's a bad type, but I mean, you got a lot of tools, and there are a lot of bugs with secondary typings that could be very, 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 very useful. So I'll play it and see. I don't think it's that bad. Dark, I think, is a very good type. First off, you're only weak to Fairy, Fighting, Bug, so that's already really good. Although fighting coverage is everywhere, but you got a lot of really cool things you can do. You got Malamar, which is Trick Room. Other than that, you don't have Trick Room, so that's interesting. But you got things like Galarian Moltres, Incineroar, of course. You got Tyranitar if you want. Oh, we're also assuming like no other ban, so instant weather's allowed. And then I'll talk real quick about what would happen if like you do what I would recommend, which is ban all of the surge abilities and all of the auto weather abilities. So snow warning, sandstorm, drizzle, drought, psychic surge, electric surge, etc. I guess there's only Mystic Surge and Grassy Surge left. I don't know why I dropped those. Anyway, so Dark I think is super high tier. It's an excellent type. You got tools with all the secondary typings like there's Dark Pokemon who resist fighting. There's Spiritomb even who's Dark Ghost or what's it called? Sableye, right? So there's Pokemon that are actually immune to fighting. There's Pokemon that are immune to or resist Bug, so they end up being neutral to Bug. And there's Pokemon that end up being neutral to Fairy. So I mean, there's really not much that you can do. Like, there's nothing that hits both Spiritomb and Incin for super effective damage. So you could really modify, and there's so many dark types. And you get a lot of cool stuff. You got Grimmsnarl, right, for screens or possibly even offense. So Spirit Break is so good. So, I mean, oftentimes, if you're not even trying and you make a VGC non-restricted team, like, it's easy to be making a team and, like, again, Moltres, Tyranitar, Urshifu, Dark, Grimmsnarl, Incineroar. I mean, and Sableye, right? You wouldn't put Sableye and Grimmsnarl on the same team, but like those five, like that's a normal VGC team. So I think it's going to be a highly effective type. It's definitely not S tier because of one reason, which we will get to, but that's really good. Yeah, slight problem, of course, is you're not likely to do super effective damage, but you don't really need to. You got all those tools, and dark type moves are so good too. Knock off, throat chop, snarl, sucker punch. You got everything. All right, dragon. Hot take, gonna put it in B tier. You miss out on a lot of things. I don't think you have fake out. not even sure you have Trick Room if you don't have restricteds, right? It's like obviously like Palkia and Dialga, like congratulations, you can the Lotties get Trick Room? I don't think so. So you do get like the Lotties, you know. You're definitely gonna have a lot of matchups that are really good, but like Ground's gonna have a really hard time against you. But like, you know, all of the fire types they all get dragon moves. Well, not all, but enough of them get dragon moves. Electric types, they all they have other ways of getting you. Dragon's just not really going to be that great offensively. It's just a terrible type offensively. And yeah, like on average, like you'll have more viable options with Dragon than other types will, perhaps, because like there's so many, the Salamences of the world, the Dragonites, but like all of those feel like they do about the same thing. You don't have the different support options that you would get from other types. So Dragon is B tier. Dragon honestly might be C tier. Your stat is just so useless, and the Max Wormman is really easy to plan around. Honestly, Dragon, even though the Pokemon are really good, like individually, I'm gonna put it in C tier. Electric is also C tier. Electric might be D tier. First off, everything in its mother gets Earthquake. So, the electric flying type. So Zapdos, I think, almost single-handedly keeps this, and Tornadoes, of course, keep this from being like F tier, D tier, I guess. The biggest problem here is Ground is just completely immune to electric. So, and there's ground types everywhere, and so you're going to be able to hit very few Pokemon with your stab. And your stab's also almost always going to be special because physical electric sucks, except when you max. And then, of course, Lightning Rod, like electric probably can't even beat water because of all the water ground types, and then Seeking's got Lightning Rod. Obviously, you're not being ground, you're not being rock. There's so many bad matchups against something like fire. Even like, is that even that good of a matchup? Like, so pluses, of course, you can't get para-hacked. Oh, I even forgot to mention dark. You Prankster's useless against you, so that's nice. But electric, you can't get paralyzed. Like, woohoo. And you do only have that one weakest, which makes it probably a little easier to tell what you're going to be facing against. But that's my thoughts. I would put electric there. Fairy, hot take. I think Fairy is A tier. It's not as bad as you might think. You might think this is really good, but there's really very few Pokemon that you can use. There's not that many Fairy types, but you got Prankster Talent, you got Whimsicott, you got Grimmsnarl, you've got Togekiss. So right there, like those are really good Pokemon. Offensively, you got Trick Room with the Wazzy, right? You got Hatterene. And you have like a few other options. You got Mimikyu, right? But as you notice, like I'm stopping being able to think of other really good options. So you're going to be bringing the same. Probably you'll be bringing 4 of those 5 Pokemon every single week, which will make you easy to plan against. Poison and Seal are not going to be easy matchups. Most fairies get Mystical Fire, right? Or Psychic, so those will be important coverage options, but so it's not that great. But the Pokemon, you get Grimmsnarl, you get Whimsicott, you get Togekiss, this is pretty good. It's pretty good. So few Pokemon, I don't know. Anyway, fighting. Fighting is, I think going to be our first B tier. So obviously you get either Urshifu, so that's good. You get stuff like Conkeldurr. Actually, no, fighting's so... you get like Toxicroak, right? So water's going to be fun. Scrafty, you get Intimidate. You get Defiant Pokemon like Gyarados. But like, speed control is going to be really hard. I don't think any fighting type gets Tailwind. You Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, fighting's definitely gonna be C tier. Yeah, and then of course as a max option, like it sucks. So I think, and then everybody loves using max airstream anyway. So is there even a fighting trick room user? So you got all these slow Pokemon. Actually, fighting might be our first D tier. Wow, sorry that went down. But the more I think about it, like everything in its mother has max airstream. Fighting doesn't really have good counterplay to that. You don't have a way of getting speed control if you don't have trick room. Like, what in the world are you gonna do? So yeah, I think fighting would be, even though it gets both Urshifus, which are so good, but like you don't get weather, you don't get terrain, so half of the types you play against here, it's going to be a losing battle anyway. So, or an uphill battle anyway. So yeah, they're definitely a D tier. Fire. So drought is really important. Um, I want to say fire is probably B tier. So you get Incineroar, you get like drought. So everyone's gonna have to have a plan for Gmax Charizard with Ninetales. You got Prankster Tailwind, basically Prankster Tailwind with Talonflame, although that's not that devastating because like with stuff like Faint or whatever, it takes care of it. Interesting question. Would Libero Cinderace be allowed? Because once it uses its move, it's no longer fired. But then I guess, like, what, are you going to automatically forfeit if someone uses Soak against you? So, probably okay. Oh, speaking of Soak, I forgot. One nice thing about Bug is Shedinja. And your opponent always has to be ready for Shedinja, even though you probably will never bring it. Like, if the Dragon team has one Pokemon on its team, they'll hit Shedinja. Like, once you figure that out, oh my goodness. So, you gotta be careful for Shedinja. But yeah, so Fire's got a lot of good options, right? You got Heatran, you got Zard. And yeah, Drought is just really hard to beat. I will say that, and like none of the Pokemon that have Flash Fire, even though Flash Fire exists, all the Pokemon we get it are Fire types. So I think it's going to be a really hard matchup against a couple of types, right? Like, I don't think you have a realistic chance against Water. I don't think you have a realistic chance against Rock. Ground's going to be really hard, but like, I think you have a decent shot against pretty much any other type, and so Incin itself is just really, really good. So I'm gonna give it a B. Flying is A tier. You get every genie, you get all the legendary birds in both forms. You get, obviously, I don't know if you knew this, but most flying types. Sorry, most Pokemon who get Tailwind are flying types. Not all of them, but most of them. Max Airstream, of course, is really good. You even get Trick Room if you want to do Trick Room somehow, but you shouldn't. Yeah, you should be outspeeding most people. You've got walls like Corviknight and Skarmory. You've got, I mean, there's nothing that serves as like an automatic win because you got Pokemon that resist ice, you got Pokemon that resist electric. Well, I mean, secondary types obviously. You got ground flyings that don't care at all about electric. Pokemon that resist rock. So you got flying, and flying's got so many options. So definitely most run, like, actually no, I would say it's almost a 50-50 split between special and physical, so the opponent doesn't know what they're doing and you can switch pretty easily. I mean, you got a lot of really good options. So I think flying is definitely A tier. Electric's going to be a hard matchup, but like, it's doable. Flying actually, I'm going to put flying ahead of fairy. I didn't really order these. No, yeah, I think that's fine. I think we're fine so far. Okay, Ghost. Ghost is really good. Oh my gosh, I forgot something. Sorry, I gotta put Ghost back. Sorry, Ghost. With Electric, you get Electric Terrain, which is a free 30% boost to everything. So unless you're playing a terrain team, it's not enough for me to move it up to B tier, but I will move it to top of C tier because, yeah, if you're playing a team that doesn't have terrain control, yeah, you basically for the entire game unless they specifically use a max move to change the terrain, you get a 30% boost to your attacks, and they don't. So that's nice. Anyway, Ghost. Ghost, I think I'll be B tier. Obviously, there's a lot of Trick Room users. Alex Switch. You got Will-O-Wisp for physical attackers. Most mini Ghosts get Snarl for special attackers. I don't think there's Tailwind. And is there Fake Out? Are there any Ghosts that get Fake Outs? I don't know. So, yeah, some of the support options you're missing, but I mean, if you got two Pokemon that can both use Ally Switch and can both use Trick Room, and like you can't be faked out except by Scrappy or Fling. Like, really? Is it really that hard to set up Trick Room? I don't think so. Then yeah, you just dominate under Trick Room, hopefully. And like, what hits it super effectively? Like Ghost, sure, but obviously most people aren't getting a stab on that when they attack you. Dark. I mean, Dark is a pretty much unwinnable matchup, but the rest should be pretty doable. You get stuff like Aegis Slash. You get stuff like, a lot of Darks. A lot of those do have good secondary typings. You get Spectre, which is nice. So it's not a great type, but I think it's comfortably better than like Electric. And if you disagree with that, then have fun playing against Electric. Grass. Again, assuming you get Surge abilities, Grass is definitely better than Fire, although obviously it loses head on. So, Grass, you can do Self-Sunny Day with Whimsicott. You can't do Automatic, but you can do Sunny Day with Whimsicott and have Chlorophyll Mons do really well. You can Spore, of course, Rage Powder. You've got a ton of great secondary types. You got stuff like Kartana, right? Stuff like Amoonguss. Rillaboom, of course, is just going to be really hard to deal with. If you do run Chlorophyll, you got Venusaur to deal with. So, you can even run Abomasnow if you want to set up Aurora Veil. Like, Grass can do a lot of things. And so, obviously, Max Airstream's on everything. So that's hard, but like, you can also Tailwind outspeed it, and then just like, you could, yes, our Abomasnow Choice Band. What would be the ice move? It uses Icicle Crash, right? Or Icicle Spear, and just annihilate their Tailwind guy before they even get to use it. Or their Airstreamer before they even get to use it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do. Superior's not in the game. Lurantis, right, for Intimidate blocking, Intimidate exploiting. There's a lot of good stuff there. So yeah, I think Grass is very good. You got a lot of defensive options that make it really appealing. Like for instance, if you're going against Fairy, you can literally have an entire completely feasible team of Grass Poison types or Grass, and you're totally fine. You're going to do very well. So yeah, Ground is, I think, A tier. So yeah, you're weak to water, but Gastrodon exists. Spoiler alert: water ground types are going to be really good for this. Yeah, you're weak to grass, and that's going to be a hard matchup. But you have, for instance, Hippowdon, Excadrill. You don't have to bring that. Ground has tons of great options, but your opponent has to be ready for that. You got Arena Trap with Dugtrio. You have, what Lando am I going to face against? I think obviously you bring Lando every week. Ice Spam is great, but like you can also like have Sandrush Pokemon that with Max Rockfall can just annihilate ice types. So I think it's going to be very, very, very good. So I don't think it's as good as Fairy or Flying or Dark, but I think it's going to be a very, very tough type to be. Definitely very offensive, but then, you got Hippowdon. Lot of good stuff. Yeah, I think, like, Lando, Gastro, Hippowdon, Excadrill, Dugtrio, and then I don't think there's a Prankster. I don't think there's an Intimidator than Lando. Is there a... Surely someone gets Trick Room. Doesn't Runerigus, I don't know, whatever his name is, he gets Trick Room, so you can even run Trick Room if you want. And then maybe, yeah, you like a Rhyperior or someone. So there's a lot of different stuff you can do with ground. So I think it's a very, very good tier. I don't think it's quite as good as Fairy again, because so much gets coverage of a type that will hit you super effectively. But I think it's really good. Ice can join fighting here in the D tier. Everything in its mother gets Rock Slide, and so just imagine getting hit by 2 Rock Slides every turn, and they're both super effective. Like you get Tailwind, but you don't get Prankster. So no Prankster Tailwind, no Speedy Tailwind. I think, what's your fastest Tailwind going to be? Articuno, maybe? You got, I don't think you get Jinx for Fake Out, so that's nice. And that's about it. So, not cool. I mean, defensively, obviously, Ice type is a meme with how bad it is defensively. And offensively, yeah, I mean, congratulations, you can do Ice, but like, I mean, what is Psychic going to be running the Latios twins against you? Probably not. So, I mean, it's challenging. You got a couple of good matchups, so I guess I would put that maybe instead of fighting. Maybe it's higher than fighting because you do have some good matchups. Like Dragon is going to be very easy, probably. Now, Hail actually, you know what? Hail itself may be changing my mind. I think Hail actually makes this challenging. Obviously, you get smoked against 3 other weathers. Maybe not ground, but definitely rock. You get smoked against 3 other types that have weathers, but Ice isn't that. Hail isn't that bad. Because you could have like Slush Rush Arctivish, and I mean that's gonna do some damage. Blizzard Spam, Aurora Veil. You got Lapras as well, except C is okay. Ironically, you would have a tough time against fighting. Normal seems like solid B tier. You got Indeedee, which is I think going to be absolute centerpiece. So you can also set Trick Room with Indeedee Male. And then you got Snorlax, for instance, that would really like that. You got Intimidate with Tauros. You got Fake Out with Persian. You got, a lot of really good options. None that are spectacular, but a lot. Obviously, Tailwind. I shouldn't say obviously Tailwind. There's got to be normal flying types with Tailwind, right? Anyway, you got a lot. You got normal flying certainly for max Airstream, etc. Or you can just max Strike, Porygon 2, Porygon Z. A lot of good options. So I think normal's definitely up there. It's a B tier. Poison I don't think is very good. So you got Amoonguss. Like, congratulations, you get Amoonguss. You have Trick Room with like Slowking, etc. You got Fake Out with Salazzle. Tailwind with Crobat. Unflinchable Tailwind, though not Prankster. But very fast. So, I mean, Poison has some good components, but like, where's the Pokemon that the other guys are going to be scared of? Like, Venusaur, Venusaur without Sunset is bad. I think you get Prankster. You get like Toxicroak, right, for Fake Out and stuff, and Dry Skin, but like, Toxicroak isn't that good. It was like my highest rated Pokemon in Redeem the Trash, and which is like the low tier, and it couldn't even see the field, so not a fan. Poison just doesn't really do much of anything. It's good defensively-ish, although a lot of stuff gets Psychic or Ground coverage. So, I mean, those are, if you had to have a weakness, those aren't bad weaknesses to have, but they're not great weaknesses to have either. So, I think its defensive capabilities keep it from being D tier. But how are you going to do damage? I guess you do have the Nidos, but like those are kind of frail. Like there's a reason they don't see a lot of VGC viability. There's a reason that like, as far as am I forgetting something really obvious? But I feel like the only poison types that see any play at all are Amoonguss and Venusaur. Which yeah, that's great. I mean, obviously you're being Amoonguss every match, but like then what? So, but oh, and of course, Max Ooze is just worthless if you're a physical attacker. So, what you gonna do? Psychic. So hot take. Psychic's a terrible type, you think, but like, what's your plan against Psychic spam? Dark's not scared, but like, what how are you gonna beat Indeedee, female, Hatterene? What's your plan for stopping Indeedee, female, Alakazam? Like, what are you gonna do? What is your plan for this? So, anyway, yeah, Psychic Terrain, I think, immediately just launches it up 2 tiers. Well, there's so many Steels and other Psychics and that resist. And there's some Dark types too, so is it really that... I think it's pretty good. I think Psychic is going to be a very good type. It has all the tools you need. You got Fake Out, right, with Jinx. You got Dry Skin. I think it's good. I think it's a really good type. Rock, I think, is a B tier. So Rock you would think is terrible, right? But you've got Aerodactyl for Tailwind and stuff. You've got Sand from Tyranitar Gigalith. And you've got... I don't actually know. I don't think you have any Sand Rush Pokemon. Am I forgetting? But so you got Sand Rush. You don't have Sand Rush, rather, but you do have the 50% boost, which is nice, plus the passive damage, which isn't nothing. And you know, you've got... I know there's Trick Room. Yeah, Lunatone and Solrock have Trick Room, which is good. So actually, Lunatone and Solrock will probably be very vital components of your team because you need Trick Room. So or Tailwind, right? Got a lot of good stuff. Regirock, right? Actually, probably like weakness policy, Regirock is going to show up a lot, so that makes it kind of easy to play against. And then like yeah, water coverage or grass coverage or ground coverage or fighting coverage or even steel coverage. Ooh, that's too many weaknesses. Yeah, there's too many things that can get you super effectively. So I'm gonna drop to C, and there's no like real like, oh man, you get access to this Pokemon. Like, I think it says something. That first Pokemon I mentioned was Aerodactyl, who's not good. So, I mean, it's saying something. So, yeah, even though it gets the automatic weather Earthing, we're going to put it in C tier, and it might be, that might even be generous. So, Steel's A tier. Steel is probably the... Dark's really good. Steel might be the second best type. The best of all of these that we've gotten so far. Steel's so good because you get so many defensive capabilities, like... So who's going to be able to hit you with their super effective attacks for neutral even? Neutral, Gark and Ghost. Super effective, ground, fire, fighting. That's it. And obviously you've got stuff like Aegislash for fighting. You've got stuff like Skarm or Corviknight for ground. Fire is going to be a tough matchup. You do have Heatran, which is Flash Fire, right? But other than that, yeah, it's okay. Well, you're not going to beat every single type, with one exception. There's one type that probably will beat every single type. But you know, Steel as an offensive type isn't that great, but Max Steel Spike boosting defense is really good. So your opponent's going to want to use special attackers, but then you got stuff like Assault Vest, and of course Duraludon, and Pokemon like that are really weak to special attackers. Like Steel is super weak to special attackers, but you got a good stuff. Steely Spirit on Berserker, who also has Fake Out. That's really important. So all of those moves get like a 50% boost. So it's not quite as good as Dark, I don't think. Do you have Trick Room? Who would have Trick Room? I'm sure someone does. I know Metagross doesn't. Aegislash doesn't. Bronzong. You got Bronzong. Oh, oh, God. Never mind. That. Oh, and of course, Stakataka. Oh, yeah, never mind. No, actually, imagine you go into you lead and you face into Bronzong, Stakataka. Like, what in the heck? Like, how in the world are you planning to deny Trick Room? So you don't. So then they get Trick Room off, and then, hey, Gyro Ball, Gyro Ball, Gyro Ball, Gyro Ball, Gyro Ball. So, tough. That's why if you're going to beat Steel type, it's not even as important to get it for super effective because of so many secondary typings. Like, it can nullify your super effective damage. What I think is more important is resisting Steel Spike. Ideally, you would have a weather that boosts your own attacks. And, have a lot of really great secondary types, have such a huge roster. And basically, why am I elaborating the point? And of course, resist Steel. Water. Water is S tier. I would favor water in literally every matchup. Again, like, ooh, but I have electric. Okay, yeah, so what? I have, say you have Politoed, right? You probably wouldn't run. You got Politoed, Kingdra. Oh, okay, so now you get outsped, and Kingdra's neutral against electric anyway. And then, in the back you got Gastrodon or Quagsire or Seismitoad. Ooh, Seismitoad. Yeah, good looking in Seismitoad. Gyarados for Intimidate. You got Slowbros for Trick Room, Slowbro Cloaking for Trick Room, and many others like Jellicent and stuff. Like, honestly, there's so many options. You got Dracovish, right, for Vicious Rend. Ooh, which Dracovish does really help Dragon, so maybe I was too unfair to Dragon, because Dracovish alone really helps. I don't know. Anyway, but you got so many supportive options, right? You could run Lapras. You could use Slow Play it, run Lapras, set up Aurora Veil. You can use like, for instance, imagine you're going into the Hail team and you bring Arctovish and you just wham on them using their own Hail. Like, there's so many things you can do. You get Tailwind, of course. You get access to everything. I think there's a water plus everything, right? There's no water steel currently. But like you got a ton of other stuff: Water Dark, Water Flying, Water Fairy, Water Grit. Oh my gosh! And then you get Tapu Fini. So, like, there's a lot of really good stuff. So I feel pretty good about this. I think this is a pretty accurate assessment of all the different types as how they would do. So what could you do to balance this? I think you could, I think a very, very important first step would be to ban weather abilities and terrain abilities. So, and that would, honestly, water would still be S tier, but it might be more competitive because, like, Drizzle is just so broken. Psychic would definitely drop. Ice would drop. So maybe actually keep Hail, like keep Snow Warning. And lose the rest. And maybe Sandstorm or Sandstream is only available to Rock, rather than being available also to Dark and Ground. So like, and then ban the terrains because you don't need those. That would definitely send Fairy plummeting a little bit, but poor Electric, right? But I'm trying to think of anything else that you could do that would be helpful. But I think that all of this, Oh my gosh, I forgot. Fairies get Unburden, Slurpuff plus all the terrains normally, so is that good enough to put past flying? Flying's really good though. I don't know. I don't think I would change anything about this tier list. But yeah, if you ban those stuff, then obviously that'll change the list. And then, I mean, maybe you had an aggressive ban list, like, okay, Steel, you can't use Celesteela. But, like, it would need to be a targeted ban list. So, like, yeah, sure, ban Dark from using Urshifu, but if you ban Fighting from using Urshifu, like, well, Fighting has nothing. So yeah, that is my tier list. I'm very proud of this. I'm not proud of this. I did it. Anyway, I'm going to play with my dog. Much love, y'all. This is Matthew Sandslash. Peace.